Part 2 of Drugs and Demons. Demonic influence. Inside and outside. Demons. Are demons real? How do I know if I have one? What is my demon's name? When you do something you really don't want to do, when it controls you and you are not in control, you are a slave. You are bound. Do you have any demons? Are they an outside influence, or have they entered or taken over? How can you tell? Let's look at an example we are given in the Bible, which can give us clues as to how to identify demonic activity and their influence, whether it be outside or inside. When he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. Mark 5, verses 2 through 5. Identifying your demons. What is the demon's name? What influence does this demon or demons have over a person? How does that play out in real life? How or what did these demons exert control over or dictate to this man? Does anything take control over you? Can you name some things you do or have done that you, as your true self, would not choose to do? Let's look at some of the things this demon did to this man. He isolated him. He no longer could function in society. He no longer had a home or a job. No one could console him. He was a wild man. He was unclean. He appeared crazy to others. He was a danger to himself. He was always roaming about aimlessly, walking the streets. He talked to himself. He cried a lot. He was tormented. He cut himself, most likely to relieve his pain or unreality. He hung out around dead things or death in the tombs. He was a living dead man. He was no longer himself. The unclean spirit had taken over his life completely. Demons mar and deface. They humiliate, degrade, and destroy. And these are just some signs of demonic activity on the outside that tell a tale of what is occurring inside. As demons take over, they take over completely. They isolate you. Depression sets in or intensifies. Some people cut themselves to ease the inner pain or the unreality of what is consuming them. The tombs. How demons enter through the tomb. Drug users become the living dead. They exist, or at least the outward shell of the person they used to be. But now it is the demon that dictates their life. They are no longer in control. Everything that once meant something to them, that spoke of who they were, is but a shadow hidden deep inside where the prisoner is kept. A tomb is where dead things live. An analogy you may have heard is the walking or the living dead. Tombs represent the past, things that no longer exist. They're dead. We can't resurrect them. We can't change them. But when we are the living dead, or living in the past, we're clinging to dead things, things that we can't do anything about. We can't go back and change. Not always, just sometimes. This is a way a demon gets in, through the tomb. When we experience a death in our life, whether it is the death of a dream or a hope or a loved one, death of anything that meant a lot to us can knock us for a loop. Some of us mourn for a while and then adjust. Others turn to drugs or fornication or booze or unhealthy relationships to ease the pain, which only adds to it after a while. All of these things open the door wider to demonic activity. All the devil needs is a foothold, and soon he will captain the ship. The more we cling to the past, dead things, the longer we stay in torment. Anger, depression, sadness crack the door, but unforgiveness leaves it wide open for any evil thing to enter. Jesus said, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." But he is not the only one who stands at your door knocking when we experience these traumas in our life. Which one will you open the door for? Jesus, who wants to come in and heal you and restore things and help you, or Satan, who will lead you into drugs, alcoholism, fornication, which is really just going out and sleeping with everyone and trying to feel better through sex, or the wildlife, he will try to lead you in that direction, especially even at certain highlights of your life or the lowest points in your life. He will always offer you these things, and if you accept them, and if you start down that path, you will eventually become enslaved to it, and eventually these demons will enter all the way in and not just be an outside influence. Later, speaking of this man whom we've been studying with his demons, it says Jesus asked the demon, "What is your name?" And the demon answered, saying, "My name is Legion, for we are many." This man had one demon, and after it influenced him enough and got in, it left the door open for other demons to come in. And the more we play with these demonic influences, the wider the door is open for other demons, known by other names or traits, to enter and join with those there. And the influence of them all together becomes stronger and takes over more areas of their lives, or what is left of them. What is left of their lives, because so much is destroyed. Later, because these are, on this slide, I've put in 2 passages of scripture, 2 verses, but I didn't put the whole story, because just for space sake. The people come because they want to see this man who the whole town knew that this guy was crazy, that he had a demon, that he was insane, because they had witnessed all this. And they heard what Jesus had done, that he had cast the demons out, and the demons had went into the swine and then went and drowned themselves. And they come to see this man who Jesus had set free from the demon, and they found him, according to Mark 5:15. And they came to Jesus, and they seen him that was possessed with the devil, and had the legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Finally, after Jesus had gotten rid of these demons, the man was sitting. He wasn't roaming about, going nuts, always having to move and do stuff, roaming the streets, but he could actually have peace, enough peace to just sit. And he was clothed and cleaned up, and he was functioning. He was in his right mind. He was completely demon free. Jesus will also set you free if you call out to him, and he will cast out the demons or the demonic influence, depending on your stage, and he will set you free.
You still give a listen, you just may.